afternoon, race fans. Actually, good evening on most of these stations, I suppose. It's not always the same time at all three stations. Welcome to another edition of MotorSports Magazine. Tonight, we're going to be showing you highlights from the regular card of Street Stocks, Flying Tigers, and Late Model Sportsman here on August 20th at Airborne. But we're actually going to kick things off with highlights from the makeup event, a 15-lap Street Stock feature that was rained out last week after the 100-lap for the Tigers. Right now, some LMS cars warming up in their first practice session. And taking a look at the LMS points as we go in tonight, we should say that if you're any plate near the top of the points, you hadn't better have anything happen to you the rest of the season. We run this upcoming Saturday night, the 27th. That is the last regular Saturday night of the 94 season here at Airborne. We take the entire month of September off, and we end it all the first week in October with a Fall Foliage 300. Taking a look at the late model points going in tonight, Dave Wickham leads them all with his 25 machine with 910 points. Second is the Zero Brent Dragon with 877. Third, our defending champ, Scott Carpenter, with 857. Pete Fecto has the 75 sitting in fourth with 831. And our leading rookie, Ron Weston, is fifth overall the points. He has 816 points. Bottom half of the top 10, Joe Thomas, Doug Horst, Steve Ruttadet, Danny Bridges, and Glenn Wright. Now, really, it has looked like Dave Wickham has had a pretty easy time of it, but he certainly has not. Brent Dragon, although he has not won a race, has only been out of the top 10 in 3 races this year. One of the more consistent drivers you'll find in that division. Wickham has one bad race. Dragon could be the 94 LMS champ here at Airborne. Taking a look at the Flying Tigers, and of course everybody knows the guy leading it, like he is at Thunder Road, this 77 of Eric Williams. Eric has passed the 1,000-point mark. He now has 1,046. Jason Leo almost reached that plateau in 999. Eldred Hutchins, 968. Last week's big main event winner, Mark Eddy, 903. And the 49 of Mike Bushy with 875. Eric Williams has not won it. Jason Leo definitely has a chance of catching him, but the guy who made it all up last week, Eldred Hutchins, in the Borrowed Essel time 47, he still has something to say about it. He might get by Leo by the end of tonight. Take a look at the Street Stocks. Remember, they have 2 main events tonight, and obviously they have to be a little careful because if they crash the car up in the first main event, they're not going to get any points for the regular card. Sitting on top, Brian Pugh with a 29, but it is a narrow margin, 906. Chasing in the 92 of Dan Gibbs with 900. Anytime one of those guys finishes in front of the other, it could change the overall point championship battle. Third, the 60 of Terry Gunnup with 839. Bob Wells has the 81 securely in fourth with 818. And Corey Trombley rounds out the top 5 in the Street Stocks with 786. Now, we can tell you that obviously we're hoping we won't get any rain here, but we do have a MotorSports Magazine already in the bag from what I understand. It should be shown next month while we're not racing here at Airborne. Rob was in Lee, USA over in New Hampshire, caught up with the Super Modifieds, a fantastic show. You will not want to miss it. I'm sure Rob will give you some pointers to how you can catch that action. Next week, he'll be back here with me at Airborne. Sit back, pick up your favorite beverage, and get ready for some great highlights from the August 20th show here at Airborne. It's coming up next on MotorSports Magazine. My guest right now, MotorSports Magazine, he has turned a whole lot of laps around Airborne when it was asphalt, dirt, and now back to asphalt. He currently campaigns the number 79 Late Model Sportsman, and a couple of weeks ago, he led him wire to wire for his first win of the year. My guest, the driver of that 79 from Morrisonville, Galen Wood. Welcome to the show, Galen.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, first of all, congratulations on a big win, but I'll tell you, he earned it because you had some pretty tough competition behind you. They didn't let you run away with it. Branham took a shot. Robin Wood was there. At the end, Ron Weston had a shot at you.
Yeah, they were all there at the back door, back Fountain. But it was nice to run with the guys. Everybody run nice and neat. Seems like a good track, and everybody's consistent, and everybody's fair, you know. Just thank for all the people and everybody that's helped us to get here.
I said he's turning a lot of laps here. Back the late 70s, he ran, I guess back then it was called the Sportsman division. It was asphalt back then, fans, if you don't remember. He had some good luck in that division. Then, of course, let's not forget, before it became asphalt again, we ran dirt for a couple of years. He drove the number 79 dirt modified, had some pretty good runs. Now he's back in the late miles on the asphalt. You've seen it from one aspect to the other. You've had a lot of laps here. Any one of those tracks your favorite?
No, this one's usually the favorites one. It's a lot better on asphalt than it was on dirt. It just feels a lot better.
Well, one thing about dirt racing, of course, is when it rains, you're done for the night, basically. At least with asphalt, you could dry the track out. And we came here a lot of nights when it was dirt, and we didn't see much racing. I know it's real disappointing for you drivers.
Yes, it is, you know, and at least one thing nice about the asphalt, if it rains, you can dry it off and get a show in, and that's what makes it nice about it. And you don't tear up the equipment as much as like you do on dirt with the open wheels.
How much can you bring when you rain the dirt modified? How much can you transfer now that you're riding on asphalt? It's a total different car. Obviously, you drive it totally different. You don't slide it through the turns. But, I mean, there's some similarities.
Oh, yes. The only thing that's different between the dirt and the asphalt, the dirt, the stagger's totally different. And the asphalt, you got to go the opposite way. And it's just that once you get oil on asphalt, it's just like being on dirt when it starts to rain.
Now, let's go back a couple of weeks ago for that big win, because the 2-3 weeks before that, he carried the checker with his qualifiers. He actually won a semi-feature or two, but he hadn't quite parlayed it into the 30-lap main event until that night. And going in, you did not have a good start to the night. You were not really hooked up, but you got it all hooked together at the end. Is that something that comes with experience, that you say, I know what the car's doing, I know what I got to change, and you hit it right?
Well, that's about it. You know, sometimes you start out and you think you got it right, then it gets loose at the end. But towards the middle of the feature, the car was getting to hook up a lot better, so it was just pure luck.
Well, one other big difference between dirt and asphalt, we don't get many of these dirt drivers we could talk to, of course, is back when it was dirt, a lot of times these guys would run, especially if it was a big race, you'd form a rut out there. You don't have to worry about that as much. You don't have to go dodging holes out there. But when you do crash on asphalt, it's generally probably a little bit more expensive. You do a little more damage.
Oh, yes, on asphalt, when you crash, you know, you hit hard. There's no give like there is on dirt. But you still don't cost as much on asphalt as it does with a dirt mod, because you're open wheels and you smash up a lot more.
We'll go back to those late 70s. Back then, you remember some of the big names? I know Bob Brunel ran here back then. There was a lot of big names that used to campaign here, and some of the fans who haven't followed the track that long may not know it, but we had the cream of the crop, as this was a mainstay in the NASCAR circuit, and you got to see a lot of big name drivers back then.
Oh, yes, you know, you had Dick Nephew and Charlie Trombley, and all them guys were all good. Then you had some guys coming down from Canada and everything else. Then you had the one that run the Hemi car. He was excellent out here. I can't remember his name, but he was good. What was his name, see?
You know, I can't remember who drove it. I remember the Hemi car. I can't remember who drove it. I bet you, though, somebody will. That's it. See, Rick knows. Rick's filming for me, Rick Knowles, and he remembers his Guy Chartrand. Back then, as you were really a rookie starting out, how much could you pick up from those guys? Because they had a lot of experiences. That's something that was good as a rookie starting out, where you could say, well, I know what this guy's doing, or you can ask him a question. Now, of course, some of these guys ask you the questions.
Oh, yes, it was nice with them guys, because you could go ask them guys and they wouldn't steer you wrong, you know, like you had Chartrand and all them other guys running, and you just watch them and see how they do and what they do, and after a while it just comes to you.
All right, well, we'll eliminate the past for a second. Let's get back to the future, talk about this track real quick, because it's not as long as it used to be in '79. They've shortened it a bit. Of course, it went to about a half mile for dirt, and that's what they paved it here. It's a track, though, that you don't get to see a lot around here, a half mile. I know you don't travel a whole lot, but a lot of the guys come over, like from Thunder Road, they get lost out there. If you were to travel to a track like Thunder Road primarily, and maybe on a somewhat regular basis, think that'd be a problem with the setup of the car?
Oh, I imagine you would have to change a little bit of different things, because you got more of a turns on Thunder Road and them other tracks than what you do on this long track here. And us guys are all used to running on a long track, but I think we can make it go around.
All right, well, we've seen all year, the one thing we have seen is the outside groove generally not the quick place to go. When you won your feature, I don't think that car ever went to the outside groove unless you were passing a slower car. It's generally that way out there. If you can stick low, you got a good chance of winning.
Well, yes, if you got the power and you're hooked up on the inside, it's kind of hard for somebody to try to go out on the outside to go around you and get by.
I want to thank my guest for joining me. He won a couple of weeks ago, and I know he won't be here for the October race, but he'll be here again this upcoming Saturday. 2 more races. You know, he may still have another win left in him. Driving the number 79 late model Sportsman from Morrisonville, Galen Wood. Good luck, Galen.
Thank you very much, and thank everybody else.
Division last week. Youngstown Lions finished second. He got the victory. Let's hear it for Golden Rod Airborne. Last week, feature that wins here at Airborne. Also on the Speedway, the building pride was parade.
to a special edition of Motorsports Magazine. Special in the aspect that we kick it off with the main event. We will be qualifying for our 3 regular divisions right after this makeup, rained out 15-lap street stock main event of last week. Scheduled to start on the pole, the 35 of Brian Real, but that car with severe ignition problems heading toward the pit, courtesy of Joe Becker giving him a push. So the best thing to do right now as we get set for the 15-lap main event is to line up the field. Starting on the pole and assuming the position on the demise of the 35 of Real, the 75 machine of Chuck Farnsworth. Farnsworth is joined by the 11 of Jimmy Varno. In row 2, keep your eye on these two guys. To the inside, the orange 37 of Dave Parent, and on the high side, the 01 of Keith Nolan. In row 3, the red 71 of Tony Broussard, and the black and orange 28 of Skip Liberty. Row 4 occupied by the 66 of Corey Trombley, the black 72 of Kurt LaGrave. Then we find Rick Preston with the 87 out of Lake Placid, and the black 2 of Leo Duggan. Starting in the 11th position on the grid, our points leader coming in, the red, white, and blue 29 of Brian Pugh. He is joined to the high side with the 81 of Bob Wells. Field a little bit out of order. We'll line them up as they are. The 60 of Terry Good up next in line. Scheduled to start next to him, the orange and white 92 of Dan Gibbs. Dan only 6 points behind Brian Pugh in the battle for the track championship. Then we find the 91 of Sean Fountain and the 77 of Rick Frenier. Kicked back to another row, the 99 of Andrew Carey, the 84 of Rick Wells, the white 85 of James Collins, the 39 of Sonny Reeves. Shotgun row to the inside, the 23 of Joe Becker. And shotgun all alone on the field, the 97 of Thunder Road street stock points leader, Jason Gibbs. Take one on the field. The 2 Gibb brothers in attendance, Dan and Jason. I can tell you a little bit later, you will see their dad, Dave Gibbs, who has his late model Sportsman here for the 2nd week in a row. With Rob in New Hampshire, new cameraman for tonight from the Champlain area. Very familiar with the new channel system up there. He helps us up there a lot getting our show on the air. Calvin Castine. Hey, welcome, Calvin. I hope you have fun tonight. It's going to be interesting.
Last time I was at Airborne, Steve, was probably about 30 years ago, and I came here. I lived next to Paul Conover, and he was the mechanic for the legendary Charlie Trombley, and we came up to watch 6 and 7/8, and that was a long, long time ago.
Many, many moons ago, Charlie Trombley campaigned here with some great legends like Hamilton, and I know Dick McTavish was here. A lot of big names from the world of NASCAR campaigned here a few years ago. As a matter of fact, some of those names like Hamilton and Dick Nephew, a couple of weeks ago, we're at Riverside Park in Agawam, Massachusetts for a Legends race. Not the Legends you saw here earlier this year, more or less a Legends of NASCAR type race, special invitation event. Unfortunately, can't tell you how it turned out, do not have results, but I would love to have been there to see Dick Nephew and all those guys do battle one more time. Getting set for the green flag. Once again, the front row, Farnsworth and Varno to set them on their way.
Number 35 is
Well,
back
we
on
have
the track,
a host
Steve.
of top drivers behind him. Green flag is out, and the rained out 15 lapper kicks things off tonight here at Airborne. 2 late arrivals. I mean, the green comes on. They're just coming on the track. 43 Ken Misick, 69 of Jace Ashline. Ashline goes down and Labie just comes on the track as the field storms by. 3 wide action heading out of 4. Liberty, the middle part of a Broussard-Varno sandwich. Everybody keeps it straight, but Danny gives sideways. Sean Fowl straightens him out. Goodup and Freya come together. Goodup, a hard shot in the back end by Becker. Everybody sliding their automobiles to the inside. The 2 casualties, 2 of the big names, Frenier and Danny Gibbs. No caution. Trouble up in 4 again. Skip Liberty out of shape, gets it back underway. Now Sonny Reeves kicks the 39 to the inside. These guys still have to qualify and run another 15-lap main event, but they're getting awful racy early on here. Varno is a scratch at. Farnsworth is your leader. Second is the 01 of Nolan. Third is 71 of Broussard, but as they come out of 4, positions change quite easily. One guy on the move, the 29 of Brian Pugh. You can bet he knows that his nearest competitor in the points, Dan Gibbs, has suffered some problems. Gibbs, look at that 4-wide move into 3. 81. Bob Wells, like he shot out of a cannon, splits a couple of competitors, moves into third. Bob Wells may have one of the quickest cars on the Speedway. Ken Misa keeping the Richard Petty Clone 43 tucked to the inside as the leaders go by him. Farnsworth, about a dozen car lengths on the 01 of Nolan, who has about 5 in the 81 of Wells. Then Corey Trombley runs fourth. Battle for fifth, Liberty and Broussard side by side. As we come out of 4, we catch the 99 of Andrew Carey, almost tasting the concrete. Automobile starting to sort themselves out now. Farnsworth still about 10 or 11 car lengths on the battle for second, which is a good one. Nolan with Bob Wells directly behind him. Remember, after this show, this upcoming Saturday night is the last regular Saturday night of the 94 season here at Airborne. We'll take the entire month of September off and then catch up with you the first weekend in October for the Fall Foley 300 to conclude the 94 campaign. Early retiree 39 is Sonny Reeves. He had an infield excursion about 3 or 4 laps ago. Halfway this time by for Farnsworth. He started first. He's been first through the first half. Can he hold on and lead her wire to wire? We will set the field as they hit the stripe the next time by. There will be 9 down and 6 to go. 9 down, 6 to go as Farnsworth touches the line. He has half a straightaway lead on Bob Wells, Keith Nolan, Brian Pugh, Corey Trombley, Skip Liberty, Tony Broussard, Sean Bouch, Kurt LeGrave, Rick Preston, and Dave Perrin. In the battle for the points championship, Brian Pugh runs third. Dan Gibbs runs in about, oh, good Lord, 16th or 17th for him. Farnsworth may have actually increased his lead to maybe 15 or 16 car lengths. He has had no challenge whatsoever. Everything has been perfectly fine for the 75 of Farnsworth. Battle for second, Wells and Pugh. Battle for second really heating up as Bob Wells takes the 29 of Pugh a bit high. Those cars may have touched it too. That got Wells out of shape. They race side by side, trying to reel in our leader, Chuck Farnsworth. It is going to be a tough quarter to catch the 75 without a yellow flag. Battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th between Nolan, Trombley, and Liberty. Just as good as this battle for second. There will be only 2 to go this time by. Farnsworth having to negotiate with the slower 69 at Jace Ashline. Battle for second is catching Farnsworth as he is forced to slow up behind Ashline. They have cut into the gap. It's only about 10 car lengths as Wells and Brian Pugh still run side by side for the runner-up spot. In racing, they say the only lap you have to lead is the last one. And so far, Chuck Farnsworth has led them all but the last one, and that's because he is on the final circuit. No yellow flags. He has been wire to wire. Everybody keeping an eye on that battle for second. Brian Pugh may be the points leader, but Bob Wells is running him hard to hold on to second. On the last lap, Nolan and Fountain in the infield. Keith Nolan almost hit a light pole. Checker flag, Farnsworth wins it. Brian Pugh finally gets in front of Wells when it counts at the line to finish second. Wells to third. 66, Corey Trombley fourth. The 01 of Keith Nolan will be fifth. Oh, but fans on that last lap, as we were watching the leaders, Fountain and Nolan came together. Keith Nolan found the light pole up in turn 3. He has scattered debris all over the place, and the car still runs. Guess it's like a Timex watch. It takes a licking but keeps on ticking. He will finish the event. Farnsworth is your winner, but we have to requalify these automobiles and do it all over again.
Steve Hayes, Rick Knowles was up here right next to us a few minutes ago. Now he's right down below. Is that how he stays in such good shape, running up and down the stairs here?
He's in good shape? Oh, okay, if you say so. I'm going to hear about that from Rick. Yeah, he has to do a lot of trips up and down those stairs to interview the leaders after each and every race. And, of course, with this makeup event, it's just one extra trip for him tonight. First qualifying action of the evening, the honor given to our Flying Tiger divisions. Starting on the pole from Morrisonville, New York, the 07 of Jeff Plunkett. He is joined by our defending street stock champion, the 99, Moon Miller. Row 2 to the inside, the 82 of Toby Ebersol, and on the outside, the 75 of Sparky LePan. In row 3, the 08 of Kevin Sorrell from just down the road here, and the 79 of Ernie Holmes. Shotgun on the field to the blue 20 of Steve St. Clair. Clinch green given. They'll go green next time around. 7 automobiles set to do battle in the low qualifier for our Flying Tigers for tonight. Plunkett, Miller in the front row. Plunkett has had some good runs this year and a lot of misfortune twice. As a result of racing here, he has been at the local emergency room, once for hitting the wall and once he was overcome by fumes. And starting outside row 1, our defending street stock champ Miller, showing real big signs of life the last couple of weeks. Looks like they really had the setup dialed in on the 99 machine. Would have to be a strong contender to pick up this qualifier. Out of 4, looking at Chief Starter Mike Wilder. Green flag flies. Toby Ebersol right on the back bumper, the leader. He'll dive to the inside to make it 3 wide. Ebersol with the grade 1 move takes the top spot from inside row 2. Miller and Plunkett stay door panel to door panel, but now they are battling for second. And behind them, Sorrell and LePan also door panel to door panel, storming out of 4. Toby Ebersol, the Brooklyn Urban 82, with a terrific move at the start of the race, takes the top spot, trying to pull away now. Plunkett and Miller, just as they started a lap and a half ago, side by side. Sorrell and LePan doing the same behind him. Then St. Clair and Holmes round out the field. Sparky LePan gets it loose out of 4. Well, as long as Plunkett and Miller side by side, Ebersol has a chance to pull away, but now Plunkett clears the 99. Miller going to do battle from behind the machine now. Ebersol's lead as he comes by to complete the 3rd lap, about 9 or 10 car lengths. And Plunkett, Miller, Sorrell, LePan, St. Clair, and Ernie Holmes. Halfway this time by for Toby Ebersol. Toby looks strong, no doubt about it. The 82 machine working just the way Ebersol needs so far. Jeff Plunkett doing a great job to hold on to second. Moon Miller now thinking about trying to take that second spot. Looks to the outside of Plunkett. Not going to have the momentum going into 3. How about out of 4? Nope, right not. Plunkett driving the middle groove, and that does not allow Moon Miller to have a shot at taking second. As a matter of fact, Sorrell and LePan are catching up to Miller, and instead of going to gain a position, he better try to protect losing one. 2 to go this time by. In the 15-lap makeup event for the street stock, Charles Farnsworth went wire to wire, and here in the first qualifier of the evening, Toby Ebersol trying to duplicate defeat. Forget the leader, he has checked out on the field. Everybody else running single file. Best battle for second. Plunkett still in front of Miller. Miller may have as equal, if not maybe a little quicker a machine, but has no place to run it. And now LePan all over the back bumper of Miller. Moon Miller looking to the outside, but if he does that, he's going to open the door for LePan. Sparky sticks the nose of the 75 under. Miller cuts him off out of 2. Coming out of 4, though, is going to be Toby Ebersol to go green to checker. Plunkett holds on for second over Miller, LePan, Holmes, Sorrell, and the 20 of Steve St. Clair. Well, I'll tell you what, fans, Toby Ebersol was as dominant as you want to be in a qualifier. He made a Class 1 move early on, diving to the inside in the first turn, took the lead from the front row, and checked out on the field. And Calvin, I know you don't see the racing often, but I'll tell you, that must have looked impressive.
He just took charge early and looked back all the way.
All right, picking up the first qualified event of the evening and our first contender for a Triple Crown. Driving the Rick and Rob 82 machine, Toby Ebersol.
Steve, before you hang up that mic, tell us a little bit about the point system. I think probably you and Rob sometimes think that everybody watching knows what this is all about, but I'm sure there's people like myself who enjoy watching the races but don't really understand everything about the points. So tell us about the heats, how many points they get there, and how many points they get for a feature.
Well, basically, the way everything works out is they take at the beginning of the night and they check the cars who have come into the pits, look at how they are lined up in the point standings, and then divide them into a low handicap, mid handicap, and high handicap heat. Assuming there's enough to 3 heats there are tonight in the Tigers. What you just saw was the low handicap. These are the guys in the mid. It's based on how they've run the last few weeks here. They already have established the feature lineup. Now, I know that sounds strange, but by virtue of how you have finished the last 2-3 weeks, as these guys check in, they have the feature lineup set up. They just have to qualify to start in that position, and that's points are given. To be honest, I'm not going to tell you how many heat is because I believe it differs from some of the other divisions. But it's strictly if you have not been too strong lately, you get to start a little easier qualifier, and that enables you to perhaps start up front. Mid-handicap qualifier for the Flying Tigers on the track. Wild Bill Sawyer and Bob Woods in the front row. Row 2, rookie Chris Fisher and Gary Wood. In row 3, we find another rookie, Russell Johnson, and the Mean Green 86 machine of Tyson Drown. Then Jimmy Young and Danny Benoit will round out the 8-car field. I would tell you a car to watch in this field, but in all honesty, pretty much all these cars seem to have come to life recently. Bob Woods has had a great couple of weeks here recently. Gary Wood has been an awful strong car. The teammates start first and last. Sawyer in front, Benoit behind. You never count out anyone like Jimmy Young from the field. And Chris Fisher, for a rookie, has shown a lot of promise. Sawyer takes the early lead. Battle for second. Bob Wood to the inside. Gary Wood bobbles the 53. That allows Fisher to take third. Sawyer takes the lead 39 off the backstretch. And that allows Bob Woods to almost catch up to his back bumper. We'll set the field this time by Bill Sawyer, leader over Bob Woods, Chris Fisher, Gary Wood, Tyson Brown, Russell Johnson, Dan Benoit, and Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young's car not handling all that well, very loose as he goes through the turns. Gary Wood moves into third, disposing of the Fisher 71. Meanwhile, Drown to the inside of Fisher to try to get a position. Chris Fisher gets past on the high side, and now he is being challenged on the low side. And a bump from Drown, and that turns Fisher around. Drown hits the front end, and it turns Fisher heading the right way again. But Chris will be way behind the field at this point. Halfway this time by for Sawyer. Bill Sawyer slows up. Bill Sawyer slows up the 39 machine. And I think he thought the caution was coming out. He gets back into it in one, but he goes from first to third. Bill Sawyer with a major bobble. Look, I believe he thought the caution was going to fly. It is now Gary Wood with a big lead over Bob Woods, Bill Sawyer, Russell Johnson, and Jimmy Young. Oh my. I bet you Bill Sawyer's face is rather red right now. Gary Wood says, "Thank you very much, Mr. Sawyer," and he pounces to take the top spot with 2 to go. And barring a mechanical misfortune, Gary Wood will be carrying another checker flag here. And Bob Woods and Bill Sawyer are nowhere near the back end of the 53. Gary Wood comes out of 4, greeted by the white flag. Clear track in front. Virtually nothing behind them. Only battle on the Speedway, the battle for second between the white 57 of Bob Woods and the 39 of former leader Bill Sawyer. Now, I said he may have thought the caution came out. It is entirely possible he did suffer a mechanical problem. But it will mean Gary Wood will win it over Bob Woods, Bill Sawyer, Russell Johnson, Jimmy Young, the 74 Danny Benoit, Tyson Drown, and Chris Fisher. But you have to wonder if it was a mechanical problem, will it plague the 39 later? As he definitely slowed up drastically. Coming out of 4, never got back into it until out of 1. And when you boil it all down, it means the North Country Security 53 machine of Gary Wood will carry the checker flag in his qualifier. And I'll tell you what, Calvin, that if it was a mistake where he thought the caution came out, he's going to be awful red-faced in the pits to his crew.
Looked like it was going to be a repeat of the previous heat where Ebersol just looked back all the way and looked like Sawyer was going to do the same thing.
Well, he probably would have if he'd kept the pedal to the metal. Wasn't to be. Gary Wood once again, 1/3 the way to a Triple Crown. And let's remember, this is one of the guys who is a threat to do it every week. High handicap Tiger qualifier on the Speedway. Honor the pole given to Mike Bushy with his 49 machine. Lined up alongside him to complete the first row. The winner of the big 100-lap main event last week, the 51 of Champlain, New York's Mark Eddy. Row 2, Hutchins and Leo. Row 3, Williams and Dave Holman. Followed by Andy Haywood, Brad Duquette, Bill Barcom, and Mark Barnier. Up front, Mark Eddy trying to pick up where he left off last week. Gets half a car in front of Bushy, but Bushy with the preferred inside groove, not ready to give up the top spot just yet. He will lead the first lap, coming off 4. A 5-car battle for the lead that has pulled some 15 car lengths away from the other 5. It is 5 cars battling for positions 1 through 5, and the back half of this field, nowhere near them. Mike Bushy leading 4 awful-run automobiles right now. Barnier negotiates slower traffic to move into 6. That is one car that should be able to catch up to the lead pack. And the 18 of Duquette gets an open group. He might be able to catch up. Top 5 lined up in single file, nose to tail, coming out of 4. Bushy, Eddy, Williams, Leo, and Hutchins. Eldred Hutchins back in his familiar 37 after hopping a ride in the Esso time 47 for the 100-lap main event last week. Broke a timing chain in his traditional automobile, and that meant that he was in a piece of borrowed equipment for the biggest race of the year for him. Well, Mike Bushy has done everything right so far, but now opens the door up for Mark Eddy. Now cuts down on the 51. Eddy still trying to push his way through. Realize that it's not going to do any good. He backs off. Williams gets to the inside. Leo the battle for 3rd. Eddy loosens up the back end a little bit, no problem. Williams does dispose of Racing Jason's number 8. Williams in the back end of Eddy, a little howdy-do. I think Mark knew he was there. And Mark opens up the door for our points leader, and Williams will be second with 2 to go. The only thing now for Williams to do is get past that 49, and so far, nobody has been able to do it. Slower traffic about to come into play. The 14 of Bill Barcom right in front of the lead pack. Barcom runs the high groove, allows the leaders through with the white flag flying. Well, tonight we have seen a situation where if you start on pole, or at least if you lead the first lap, you lead them all. Looks like Bushy will do just that. Williams will take one last shot at him. Coming out of 4, he won't be able to do it though. Mike Bushy over Eric Williams, Jason Leo Marchetti, Mark Barnier, who comes up for 5th. Hutchins will be 6th, followed by Duquette, Baldwin, Haywood, and the 14 of Bill Barcom. Well, Calvin, what we have seen, as I just mentioned, if you can lead early, you'll probably lead them all. But Bushy, he earned this one as our points leader. The 77 of Williams was right behind him. Maybe another 1 or 2 laps, we'd have had a different guy carrying the checker. But 8 laps the distance, and that's all Bushy needed to carry it this time.
I think the thing that impresses me so far, Steve, is how quickly they get the next group of racers out here. It's almost non-stop action here.
Well, if you've ever been to the Speedway, you probably noticed that in the pit area, what we do is we bring one field out, and as I speak, this field just came out. The next field is already lined up, ready and raring to come out. So everything is always set up in the pits, one race ahead. They always leave a bit of a gap, though, in case anyone having trouble can get into the pits, so they won't be held up at all. Getting set for the first qualifier for the late model Sportsman, a 10-lap event with Robin Wood and rookie Rob Knowles. It is Robin Wood leading the 42 of Tony Poisson, but Poisson had trouble in a practice session, severely bent up the underside of that automobile. Looks pretty good right now, though. Rod Reed, who started outside row one, runs third. Galen Wood, Dave behind him. Lavelle, Blacklade, Wright, Norm Gay, Adams, Branham, and a brand new machine, the 21 of Richard Bootsy. Last time I saw Bootsy here, he had that 13, and haven't seen him since then. Brand new automobile, beautiful looking car. Robin Wood looking points, and he tries to pull away from the field. Poisson runs second, Weed third, followed by Wood, David Gay, and Ron Lamel. Than normal. Track may be set up in such a way the cars are drifting tonight. We noticed at the Fly Tigers a couple of guys running that avenue. Tony Poisson's 42 is starting to reel in our leader. Out of four. Blackley, Norm Gay, and Tim Patinka did a lot of bumper banging. They all come out of it heading straight, but there was some bent up sheet metal. Norm Gay dives to the inside of Blackley. Meanwhile, Bucko Branham on the outside in a three-wide move. Branham has been mired in traffic this whole race. Half down, half to go. And coming out of four is a scary sight. 3 wide. Well, as Bucko Branham tries to find a racing group to work his way up, his nephew Robin Wood has led them all so far. Robin Wood. In front of Tony Poisson. Let's give a call to the guy running third, Rod Weed. Looks like Rod has a race set up tonight. He's still running. Now Poisson dives to the inside of Robin Wood. Robin sees it coming, blocks it. Wood graduated from the Flying Tiger ranks last year, and as I said, he's having a pretty susceptible game. 14 points, second. As a matter of fact, the guy 30 rookie points. He's running fourth in this race. Is 79 of my guest earlier, Galen Wood. Well, one reason Bucko Branham didn't do good, he has broken the 63, so he probably the back end of the 63 and dragging. Let's hope it's just simply a flat tire. So Bucko is going to watch this last lap and a half and hope that his nephew will go green to checker. Robin Wood gets the white. Tony puts on the only guy trying to pass him, and nobody else is in contention. Down for third, Weed and Galen Wood. Now Glenn Wright getting into that picture as well. Well, the 21 of Uzi is a beautiful looking car, but he's got to work on it to get the setup. Checker black and another green to checker. The 61 of Robin Wood with the beat. Second to the 42 of Poisson, Rod Weed third, Galen Wood fourth, Glenn Wright fifth. And I realize that you people are at home are watching highlights of tonight's show, but we have seen consistently guys who lead the first lap leading them all, and Robin Wood had to earn it though. The 42 of Poisson was all over the back end, but he had no place to pass, and Calvin, once again, green to checker for one of our competitors. This time, Robin Wood, the benefactor.
Except for Sawyer, who had that inexplicable slowdown. It would have been everybody so far.
In his qualifier, Bill Sawyer had a healthy margin, took the halfway to go sign, and either had a mechanical problem or thought it was a yellow because he slowed up. Lost it, finished third. Getting set for our second LMS qualifier of the evening. 10 laps of scheduled distance, the front row. Now here are two guys who really could use a win right now. The 9 of Danny Bridges and the 76 of Steve Renadette. Of course, anyone in this field would love to win it. In row 2, the 91 of Bill Fountain. Now there's a guy who can always win. And how about the outside of row 1? Here's a guy long overdue, the 66 of Joe Thomas. In row 3, we find rookie Rod Weston, our rookie points leader and 5th overall in points. On the inside, the 75 of Pete Pecto outside. Then it's a family connection in row 4. Brian Hoare to the inside, his dad Doug Hoare on the high side. Let's remember, they finished 1-2 last week in the main event. Row 5, a couple of black automobiles, the 0 of Dragon, the 25 of Wickham, shotgun to the 97 of Dave Gibbs and the 7 of Plattsburgh, New York's Gary Godin. Gary, first time out of the box last week, and was that car impressive? Let's see if he's got the same magic tonight. 12 automobiles, an even dozen set to do battle. You know, Brent Dragon with the 0 car, as far as fans. All the Vermont people cheer for him because he hails from Vermont. All the New York people cheer for him because Bill's Body Shop sponsors the automobile. That's a New York business. Just as they started, Bridges and Renedette side by side after the last fight a racing crew. I don't think Danny Bridges is going to give him an opening. Bridges, a lot of years of experience driving at this track alone. Billy Fountain going to try to take trouble up in 3. Pete Pecto spins the 75 around. That is not what Pete Pecto needed. I can tell you, a quick spin like that did not do Pete Pecto any good because Pete Pecto is under the weather tonight. As a matter of fact, he's downright sick, he'll tell you. He was trying to get his stomach settled in the pit before the race, but a spin like that, Calvin, is not going to make things easier for him. Getting set for the resumption of the second qualifier for the LMS division. 2 down, 8 to go. Renedette lined up side by side the front row at the start. They're still side by side at the restart. But now Bailey Fountain from the inside of row 2 pulls alongside Renedette. Not much Renedette can do here except watch the 91 go by. Renedette may have found a quick racing group. Fountain and Renedette come together. Brent Dragon in the back end of Fountain turns them around. It all started though when Fountain and Renedette came together. That slowed him up. Dragon got into the back end of Billy. No caution for Billy. Billy is heading the wrong way, just off the racing group. Now the yellow will come out. And once again, we will have Bridges and Renedette side by side for the restart. And Bill Fountain will be at the back of the pack with 4 down, 6 to go. Getting set for the restart. Take a look at some of the fans in the stands going into tonight's action with only 3 events left. Dave Wickham's lead over Brent Dragon, just 33 points. Both are in this qualifier. Brent runs 3rd. Wickham currently in the 7th position, so there's not a whole lot of difference in points there, but hey, every point counts. For the 3rd time, Bridges and Renedette take the front row to the green. Row 2, Dragon Weston. Row 3, the family connection of Brian and Doug Hoare. Weston, the middle part of the family sandwich there. Brian to the inside, Doug to the outside. Wickham slips by, and Weston loses 3 positions in the turn. Danny Bridges started first, hoping to finish there. Right now has a 3-car length lead on Brent Dragon. Ryan Orr moves to 3rd as Renedette is stuck on the high side, and he is hoping the train doesn't pass him by to the inside. 6 down. Hustle in the 9 machine. Now Brent Dragon starts to try to catch the leader. Brian Hoare is 3rd, but first he has to get past the 0 before he can worry about Bridges. And I don't think there's enough laps for him to do it. It will be 2 to go next time by. Danny Bridges has them all in line heading into 3. Brent Dragon not closing up hardly at all with 2 to go. Out of 4, Bridges sees the white flag. Can he hold on? Caught by 3rd place driver Brian Hoare. Speaking of Brian, his dad Doug Hoare slides off for turn 2. Doug was running 6th at the time. He'll finish last of the cars on the track. Checker flag honors before the 9 of Rick Dragon second, followed by Brian Hoare, Dave Winter, and Ron Weston. Tough break for Doug Hoare with the on the last lap, spun off the backstretch, was 6th at the time. So picking up the victory, and I'll tell you why. I know he started first, but he held the inside groove and didn't give anybody an opportunity. If he could do that later in the 30-lap main event, he could be a strong contender. In the CRAA Roofing, Key Chevrolet Lumina, out of Peru, New York, Danny Bridges. Street stock qualifier number 1 on the Speedway. Starting out of the pole. Now, he was scheduled to start here in the makeup 15-lap feature, but had mechanical problems. Let's see if he can get it done here. Starting out of the pole, the 35 of Brian Real. Outside row 1, the 39 of Sonny Reeves. In row 2, we find the 11 of Jim Varno and the 43 of Ken Misek. In row 3, he's got 1 feature win already tonight. The 75 of Charles Farnsworth, the 99 of Andrew Carey. Row 4, the 69 Jace Ashline, the 37 Dave Perrin. Shotgun row, the 01 of Keith Nolan, and the 28 of Skip Liberty. 10 automobiles set to do battle. Real Reeves will lead him to the green. Reeves drifts a bit high coming out of the turn. Real Varno running 1-2 by the time they hit the stripe. And everybody trying to find their own racing groove heading into the first set of turns. Ken Misek hits the dirt out of 2. He brings it back on. At least he didn't hit the billboard. We've seen that a couple of times this year. Trouble on Nolan. The hood pops up with the 01. And visibility the problem with Keith's automobile. A caution will come out, although he's moving. They're going to hold the yellow. He'll pull to the infield. And he'll go into the pits and tell his crew, guys, hood pins, remember them. Up front, it is Real Varno side by side behind him. Liberty from shotgun, battling Carey for 3rd. Skip Liberty started dead last of the 10-car field. He comes to the stripe after the 2nd lap, and he is battling for 2nd now. They're going to set him 3 wide into turn 1. Real opens the door for Liberty. Now he shuts it. Liberty forces him to open it again. Liberty and Carey do double duty on the pole setter. Carey takes the lead, gets the car sideways. Liberty moves under. They'll come to the halfway markers with Carey Liberty running 1-2 by about 7 car lengths over Real. RC and Sons trying to fix the 01 car of Nolan. If he doesn't have hood pins, it won't do any good. Now, they got it hooked up. Please don't come on in front of the leaders, Keith. Oh boy, Liberty avoids him. With 2 to go, it's a drag race for the top spot. Take your pick, man. The 99 of Carey or that Englefield Brothers 28 of Liberty. Liberty, a full car length out of 2. Started worst, trying to finish first. Skip Liberty with a 28 machine. Andrew Carey sits in the pocket 2nd. Keith Nolan is 3rd on the track, but not in position. Perrin is 3rd in position. White flag out 3/4 of a lap left. Carey has very little time to make a move on Liberty. He may have won the first feature, but Farnsworth retires a lap early. Trouble on the 75. Into 3 out of 4. Checker flag for the 28 of Skip Liberty. An impressive run. Englefield Ford brother well represented there. Liberty beats Carey to the stripe. 3rd today, Perrin. He was pretty far back in the field. Jim Varno 4th. And pole sitter Brian Real hangs on to 5th. Pretty good battle up front, Calvin, between the 28 and the 99 machine. It was all settled, though, when Liberty got to the inside.
He came from, as you said, dead last.
Worst to first.
Just to give you an example how quickly they get him out here, Liberty just finishing his victory lap, and they're set to start the next heat.
Tell you, if the winner of the previous race doesn't fire his automobile, he's liable to get run over by the next field. They do bring him out in a hurry. Getting set for the second qualifier, and I believe the last qualifier for the street stock. Starting on the pole, the black 72 of Curtis LeGrave, and the Bills Body Shop 66 of Corey Tromboleo line up beside him. In row 2, the 2 of Leo Duggan, the 87 of Rick Preston. Then we find the 84 of Rick Wells and the 92 of Dane Gibbs. In row 4, the 29 of Brian Pugh and the 60 of Terry Gunnup. Final 4 on the track. Sean Fountain's number 91, 85 of Collins, 97 of Jason Gibbs, and the 81 of Bob Wells. Cars to watch, probably your top 2 guys in the points, Brian Pugh, Dane Gibbs. The guy started shotgun here. Bob Wells was awful quick in the 15-lap main event from last week that we ran first tonight. A big bobble of cars, and I am surprised they made it out in one piece. Some of these guys could have reached out and shook hands with their competitors. They were running that close. They settle it coming out of 4. Corey Tromboleo leading a huge pack. Uh-oh, Rick Preston sideways. And he gets T-bowed by Collins. Preston gently taps the wall. If you got to hit it, that's the way to do it, as gently as possible. They refire their automobiles. No caution. Collins smokes the tires on the 85. Meanwhile, up front, Corey Tromboleo looks at his mirrors and said, where did Brian Pugh come from? Brian runs second. Rick Wells dives in front of Sean Fountain for third. Rick Preston may not make it back to the pits. Corey Tromboleo is your leader. Rick Wells underneath our points leader. Brian Pugh opened the door. Rick Wells says, thank you very much. Halfway. Wells and Pugh, a gentle nudge up in 1. Terry Gunnup takes a 60 for a wild ride. I have no idea. The car really shimmy going in the turn. He may have had a tire going down, but I somehow doubt it. Oh, it's possible, though. If that was a tire going down, he did a great job keeping it under control. 2 to go for Tromboleo. Rick Wells, some smoke from that 84 machine. Can he hang on for another lap and a half? Third is Sean Fountain. Brian Pugh is falling back to 4th. And the guy right behind him with the points is right behind him on the track, Danny Gibbs. Another automobile that retired is Dan Gibbs' brother, Jason, with his 97. White flag, Corey Tromboleo trying to lead them all. Rick Wells, an impressive run in second. Sean Fountain third. Last week, Sean Fountain did double duty, his street stock and the Bernie Riom 73 Tiger for the 100-lap main event. Battle for 4th, a battle between the 2 top points guys, and Dan Gibbs will win it. But the overall winner of the race, Corey Tromboleo, who beats Rick Wells to the line. 3rd to Sean Fountain. 4th was Dan Gibbs. 5th will be Brian Pugh. They haven't changed on the board, but I'm pretty sure Gibbs got in front of the 29 machine. And again, we have seen the guy who leads early lead them all, and a trend is starting to form. And if I'm in the front row for one of our main events later on MotorSports Magazine, I feel pretty good right now, Calvin.
I can't believe we escaped any caution flags in that one. There were certainly a couple instances that looked like it was going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you, these guys get picked on a lot, but I got news for you. These guys do some of the best driving you will see in some nights here. They get these cars in all sorts of trouble, and most of them are first-time competitors, and it is amazing how they get out of trouble on the track.
They were so close at first there. I could have sworn I heard somebody asking for some Grey Poupon.
He probably did. They really were in a bunch going up in 1. There was about 6 cars in a space where no more than 3 or 4 should have been. Semi-time for the Fly Tiger division. Leg number 2 in the Triple Crown. And in case you're wondering, our 3 qualifying victors, Toby Eversol's 82, Gary Wood's 53. And as I recall, the 49 of Mike Bushy picked up the high handicap qualifier in a very impressive run. Let's line them up as they are on the field. The 07 of Jeff Plunkett, the 99 of Moon Miller in the top row. Toby Eversol, Bill Sawyer, row 2. Bob Woods, Gary Wood, row 3. Mike Bushy, Jason Leo in the 4th row. And Eric Williams all to his lonesome in the 5th row. 9 automobiles come to life out of 4. And 3 of these guys have visions of a triple crown. Bushy, Wood, and Eversol. Jeff Plunkett leads them all. Here comes Sawyer. Bill Sawyer in his qualifier apparently thought the yellow came out, and he's trying to make amends for it. Trouble on the Miller machine. He pulls to the outside, will go way to the back. Bill Sawyer comes to life with the 39 machine. He is alongside the leader, Plunkett. Plunkett, though, not quite ready to give up the top spot. Eversol 3rd, Gary Wood runs 4th. Battle for 5th between Leo Williams. They are our top 2 points guys. And last week of the 100 lapper, they both took themselves out of it within the first few laps. Bumper banging spectacular up in 1. 4 or 5 automobiles got a piece of each other. And they're all heading straight down the backstretch, so everyone behaved themselves somewhat. A great semi-feature through the first 3 laps. Sawyer way wide out of 4, looking for a shot of momentum. Didn't get what he wanted. Jeff Plunkett tightly bunched into the inside groove. Sawyer goes wide again. Gary Wood will take a position. Leo is the middle part of a Williams-Sawyer sandwich. And Gary Wood, the new pursuer for the lead. He'll take it coming out of 4. Gary Wood jumps into the top spot. And it's Gary Wood, Jeff Plunkett, Jason Leo, Toby Eversol, Eric Williams, Mike Bushy, Bob Woods, Bill Sawyer, and Moon Miller. We started with 9. We are still running with all 9 at the halfway point. Gary Wood starting to pull away. However, Leo is starting to catch the leader. Gary Wood could be en route to a triple crown. Jason Leo is catching him in a big way. Battle for 3rd, Williams and Mike Bushy. They came together. Williams turned Bushy sideways, and Bushy returned the favor out of 4 and got a piece of Williams. Plunkett almost was able to get by both those guys. Jason Leo is content to try the high groove. Gary Wood not about to budge from the inside. 7 down for Gary Wood. But Jason Leo is right next to him now. And these two had better watch out because Eric Williams is only about 6 car lengths behind. Leo sticks his nose in front. Gary Wood sticks his back in front. They take each other wide, and Eric Williams is right on the back bumper in contention. 2 to go. Gary Wood has the 2 top points guys directly behind him. Williams on his bumper and Leo to the outside. Williams gets a piece of Gary Wood, opens the door for himself, zooms by to the inside. Gary Wood is not going to be happy with losing that position. White flag. Gary Wood is going to try to cut to the inside, but Jason Leo has that spot. They come together. Smoker on the track, the 99 of Miller. And Gary may lose 3rd to Bushy. He will. Out of 4, the semi goes to the 77 of Eric Williams. Jason Leo having to settle for 2nd. Mike Bushy 3rd, Gary Wood 4th. Toby Eversol 5th, followed by Plunkett, Sawyer, Bob Woods, and Moon Miller. Well, the last 2 were the impressive ones, Calvin. Eric Williams used the jostling between Leo and Gary Wood to catch up to him, and then opened the door for himself. Coming out of 2 and took the top spot. Leo tried, but he couldn't get by our points leader, Eric Williams. With only 2 qualifiers, instead of the top 3, we'll transfer the top 4 to our semi-feature to make the 12-car semi. Starting out of the pole, just as he did in his qualifier, the 61 of Robin Wood, and by the way, he won that qualifier. Outside row 1, the 6 of Rod Weed. In row 2, the 42, Tony Fuensaw, the 19 today. David Gay, I'll get it right. It's an orange car, why can't I call him Dave Gibbs? In row 3, the black 79 of Galen Wood, the 48 of Glenn Wright. Row 4, Danny Bridges, Steve Renadette. Row 5, Ron Weston, Brian Hoare. The 6th and final row, Brent Dragon and Dave Wickham. Only fair, our 1 and 2 guys in the points are in the last row. The 2 winners who are trying for a triple crown, a couple of local guys, Robin Wood and Danny Bridges. Galen Wood gets a sandwich out of 4. Trouble on the 42 of Fuensaw. Tony breaks at the start of the race, and he is not going to have an easy time as everybody is lined up behind him. Best thing for Tony to do would have been a pull to the infield. The black will be given. He is definitely broken. You don't have to be too smart to figure that out. Galen Wood quickly avoids the 42. Everybody will get by him. Meanwhile, Robin Wood is your leader. Tony Fuensaw will go into the pits. Robin Wood, we've seen this in his qualifier, got the lead early and hung on. Third, David Gay, followed by Galen Wood, Glenn Wright, Bridges, Renadette, Brian Hoare, Weston, Dragon, and Wickham. Earlier in practice, the 42 of Fuensaw broke the underneath of the automobile. May have been the same thing happened there. The automobile came apart on him. At least he didn't lose control of the automobile, because where he was starting, he'd have taken some cars with him. Robin Wood, his lead about a half a dozen car lengths over Robin. Galen Wood moves into 4th. That kicks Glenn Wright back to 5th. Although right now, Danny Bridges on the inside of the right 48. I'll tell you 2 guys who are not doing much, Wickham and Dragon. They started the last 2 positions. They're the last 2 cars on the Speedway right now. Well, it was just about a week ago, I talked with Robin Wood, and we mentioned that he almost won his first career late model sportsman victory a few weeks ago. It was an added distance event, and he led it right up the last couple of laps. Had it been a regular distance, he'd have won the race. He had trouble later with some contact that took him out of the win, but he won his qualifier, and let's admit it, right now he is easily handling the semi-feature. Only left for Robin is the main event, and he probably will be starting someplace in the front. Robin Wood, a big lead over Rod Weed, who has about 5 car lengths over David Gibbs. I did it again, David Gay. I got to tell Dave Gibbs not to come to the track. Their cars looked alike. Rod Weed is blowing up. The 6 car suffering some sort of problem. Dave Gay gets by him. And if he is having trouble with the 6, that won't be the only car to get by him. Oh, but hey, all of a sudden, Weed comes to life on the inside. Whatever trouble he had, he corrected quickly. Over a one-stretch lead to the 61. The last thing Robin Wood wants to see is a yellow. Bridges to the inside of a 3-car battle. And the guys who won the 2 qualifiers run 1-2 with 2 to go. Oh boy, all kinds of trouble. David Gay, we come together. Galen Wood, a hard impact for the 79 machine. Galen Wood came off turn 4, the track was blocked, and he had one of the worst kind of impacts you could have, a side impact. I can see Galen's wife Linda right now. She is running down to the scene. Galen is climbing out of the automobile as he had a hard shot to the inside. Earlier in the interview, we made a comment about, well, yeah, you may crash a little bit more in dirt, but when you crash in asphalt racing, it's more expensive. I got news for you. Galen Wood just suffered a major financial setback, Calvin.
Looks like he might be in a little pain, too. I don't know if his wrist or exactly what he's...
Well, Rob and I have talked about this before. A side impact is really one of the worst you could have. Normally you would say, well, a head-on shot's the worst. Well, it's not great, I grant you, but a side impact's bad because the way a harness is, you literally dig everything into your ribs, and many a driver have fractured ribs as a result of a side impact. And he hit hard enough, you've got to be worried. He's probably winded, but you got to be worried.
I know I was talking with Mark Eddy's mother this week, and she said she watches it on TV, but doesn't come down to the track. It's a little too nerve-wracking, and you can understand that. The family, it's got to be rough out here watching the...
Calvin, we've seen another example of the Hayes jinx. Anybody that Steve Hayes interviews usually wrecks that week.
You know, all of a sudden, that comment you made when he was doing the interview about, what do you mean he's in shape? I don't feel sorry for saying that now.
Who was that guy, anyway?
I'm afraid fans who are familiar with the show know who he is, and I'm not going to mention his name at this point. The ambulance crew just more or less checking on Galen's condition. I can tell you, I guarantee you, he is winded. But hopefully that is the only injury Galen sustained in the 79 machine on that hard side impact. Let's remember, it all happened when Rod Weed and Dave Gay came together out of 4. A huge bunch of automobiles behind him, and the right front on that automobile is bad. It's worse than bad. It's probably terminal at this point. Tough break for Galen with a 79. Let's remember, he is planning to be here next week. He has no plans whatsoever to be here for the October race.
Rick was telling me earlier, Steve, that Mark Lamberton may have hung it up for the year with it, following that wreck he had over there on turn number 4 a couple weeks ago.
Now that was not a pleasant shot. That was a very similar incident that you just saw. He hit side impact on the driver's side, a little bit more harsher angle, but it was raining that day, and once he hit the grass, and I saw Mark last week, and he was the first to admit, I believe, you hit grass when it's wet. I don't care how much brakes you have, you're just going to go quicker. Getting set for the resumption of the late model semi-feature. Well, this is the yellow Robin Wood didn't want. Of course, no one wanted it, as Galen really took a hard shot. Wood, David Gay, out of 4, side by side. Danny Bridges all over the leader's back bumper. He will take second from Gay, and no offense to Dave Gay, he just stuck in that outside groove. Renedek goes inside Gay in the battle for third. Brent Dragon is lined up to go through. 2 to go for Robin. Danny Bridges all over the back end of our leader. Robin and Dan, they won the 2 qualifiers earlier. It sure looks like we're going to have a Triple Crown contender. We won't in the Flying Tigers. As he comes out of 4, white flag, but Robin Wood gets it sideways. I don't know if he got the back end loose or if Dan got a piece of the back end, but the 61 was definitely sideways. Now Dan goes to the inside. Robin blocks that maneuver. I'll tell you, the guy who could benefit here might be Dave Gay, but he won't be able to get a shot of momentum coming out of 4. Robin Wood wins by half a car length over the 9 of Bridges, 3rd to Renedek, 4th to Dragon, 5th to Dave Gay. I mentioned Dave Gay may have had a shot as the cars were lined up on the inside. If he could have gotten a little momentum, he'd have picked up a position or 2. He'll finish 5th, but 2 for 2 for the 61 of Robin Wood, and he makes himself a bid for a Triple Crown tonight. Robin, who has never had a Triple Crown, and I mentioned has not won a main event yet. He is hoping to put the Wood Race and Buick Regal in victory lane a little bit later this evening. Main event time for the Flying Tigers. 20 laps of scheduled distance. Just a sprint for these guys after 100 laps last week. Starting on the pole, the red and white 17 of Brian Bushy. And starting outside row 1, I'll tell you what, this guy is getting more and more impressive. In the 07 machine with Budweiser colors on the front, the 07 of Jeff Plunkett. Row 2, the 99 of Moon Miller, the 82 of Toby Eversall. In row 3, we find Sparky LePan and Ernie Holmes. Row 4 occupied by the 39 of Bill Sawyer, the 57 of Bob Woods. Top 10 for the start, Chris Fisher and Gary Wood. Look a little further back. In row 6, Russell Johnson and the 86 of Tyson Drown. Then we find the 1 of Jimmy Young, the 74 of Dan Benoit. 49, Mike Bushy. 18, Brad Duquette. Bill's still trying to get in order. Next on the track is the 37 of Eldred Hutchins, then the 8 of Jason Leo, the 0 of Mark Barnier, 77 of points leader Eric Williams, 51 of last week's 100-lap main event win, Mark Eddy, the 14 of Bill Barcombe, 20 of Steve St. Clair, the 3 Andy Haywood, shotgun to the 08 of Kevin Sorrell. A lot of cars to keep your eye on, Calvin.
It's going to be crowded out there the first time or two around, Steve.
25 Flying Tigers set to do battle for 20 laps. And this generally does not bode well if you start at the back of the pack. But let's remember, some of those guys back there are Eddie, Williams, Leo. They could start dead last and probably have a good chance of winning. If you're looking for a possible upset, I'm not kidding you, fans. Outside the front row, he's been awful strong lately. The 07 of Jeff Plunkett. And after 2 visits to the emergency room, I say he deserves a win, wouldn't you? Plunkett to the outside, Brian Bushy to the inside. They'll receive the green first. And 25 Flying Tigers storm into turn 1. And somehow, so far, they've all made it through. Bushy, your leader. Miller to the inside of Plunkett. Things behind that getting a little bottlenecked. Qualifiers went to Mike Bushy, Toby Ebersol, and as I recall, oh wait, hang on, fans, we have a problem up in 3, and it's involves several automobiles, including Sawyer. Plunkett, Ernie Holmes just coming back. Jason Leo had to go wide to avoid it. So we only put 1 in the books. And I'll tell you once again, our qualifier victories were Bushy, Gary Wood, and Toby Ebersol. The semi went to Eric Williams, but right now a quick caution, Calvin, and that's one of those situations, maybe too many cars where there wasn't enough room for them.
Well, there was a bump, and then it ended up into what you saw. For safety, what would you say would be the maximum number of cars we might see out here in a particular heat or feature?
Oh, 25 really is the problem. We've started more than that. Of course, if you ask these guys, they'll say just enough for me to start at the tail end, but usually you can start quite a few automobiles. Where the problem stems is when someone has a problem, you generally don't have a chance to avoid them. But our 3 divisions, I can say this, when they want it, they can behave themselves. You can start 30 automobiles. Getting set to resume the main event for the Tigers with 1 down, 19 to go. Brian Bushy, Moon Miller will be in row 1. Sparky LePan and Gary Wood in row 2. Tyson Drown, Bob Woods, row 3. Ernie Holmes and Danny Benoit in the 4th row. Chris Fisher, Mike Bushy round out the top 10. Next in line, Russell Johnson with Eric Williams to his right. Remember, Eric loves a 3-wide move. Jimmy Young, Eldred Hutchins, Brad Duquette, Andy Haywood, Mark Barnier, Steve St. Clair, Mark Eddy, Toby Ebersol, Bill Barcombe, and the 08 of Kevin Sorrell. 2 automobiles just coming back of the Speedway, the 07 of Jeff Plunkett and the 8 of Jason Leo. And I don't know why Leo pitted. He went by, didn't see a tire down, but he certainly could have had one that I didn't notice. But it was nothing hanging, and he actually stayed out for 2-3 laps under caution, so I don't know what the problem was on Leo's car, but he has 19 laps to come from the back of the pack to the front. Should be green next time by. Well, obviously, the guy outside row 2, Gary Wood, has to be considered a threat at this point, starting in the 4th spot on the grid. He has shown that he definitely can run as quick as the big point guys in this division. Although let's remember, in the semi, the 77 of Williams put a move on him out of 2. Williams currently lined up outside row 6. We get set to get back underway. Brian Bushy and Moon Miller. And in case you're wondering, I know I mentioned before, Moon Miller's first name is Steve. No, it's not the Steve Miller that ran the late model. Speaking of Miller, he is way wide out at 2, tucks it back, but Gary Wood has a shot. Gary Wood splits the front row looking for the lead. realizing his momentum was too much, he'll dive to the inside of Bushy, who made the mistake of drifting wide, and Gary Wood takes over the top spot. Gary Wood has matured a whole lot this year, and I think you see why. Miller in trouble with a 99. Almost lost the back end. Battle for second. LePan to the inside of Olstead of Bushy. Fourth is Drown. Fifth is Benoit. And sixth is the 49 of Mike Bushy. Mark Barney and Russell Johnson having a game of bumper tag out there. They came together between turn 4 and the start-finish line at least 3 or 4 times. Brown moves into second as he comes to life with the Mean Green 86 machine. But as everyone behind him battles for position, Gary Wood starts to pull away. Gary Wood, 10 car lengths on Brown, followed by Danny Benoit, Mike Bushy, Eric Williams, and Sparky LePan. Eric Williams battling Mike Bushy for the 4th spot. Last week, at about this point in the 100-lap main event, Eric Williams found himself in the infield with a busted front end. As he became involved in a multi-car incident which retired him from the event. Black flag for Miller. Will Miller smoking up the storm, sending up the smoke signals. We are used to seeing Eric Williams use the 3rd group, but I'll tell you who's starting to use it coming out of 4 is a 0 Mark Barnier. Barnier is running the car in very hard into 3, and coming out of 4, he's letting a car drift way up near the wall. Battle for 3rd between Benoit and Williams starting to heat up, and Eric Williams gets to the back bumper. Now he lets up a bit. Behind Williams is Mike Bushy with Sparky LePan on his back bumper. Starting to settle down now. We have 9 down and 11 to go. Gary Wood, a pretty healthy margin of a lead over Tyson Brown. Danny Benoit, Eric Williams, Mike Bushy, Mark LePan, Mark Barnier, Ryan Bushy, Mark Kenny, Bob Woods, Ernie Holmes, Elvin Hutchins, and Jason Leo. Halfway this time by. Sponsor 53 of Gary Wood. Now really has had the field in hand. Tyson Brown cleared traffic 3-4 laps ago, but has not been able to catch up much at all to the leader. Benoit runs third, and that is really starting to bother Eric Williams. Williams not able to take third from Benoit, and in his attempts to do so, he has allowed the 49 of Mike Bushy to catch right up to the rear bumper of the 77. Barnier is next in line. Barnier's starting to catch up to Mike Bushy. So within a couple of laps, we could have a 4-car battle for 3rd. Last week's feature winner, Mark Eddy, starting to move up now, currently battling LePan for the 7th spot. Pretty much everyone, with the exception of Gary Wood, wants right now is a yellow. Trouble at 4. Williams, Bushy come together. A great piece of drive by Eric Williams. Car totally sideways. Kept his head about him, didn't let it get to him, lifted and straightened the automobile up. Had there been some traffic directly behind him, though, we would have had a caution for sure. Pass flag given to a couple of slower cars as leader Gary Wood starting to reel him in a hurry. First to go back, that will be the 14 of Bill Barkley. And still Brown is about 10 cars behind him. Brown has not been able to make up any ground to Gary Wood, but he is maintaining about a 7-car length advantage on 3rd place, Danny Benoit. And now the guy challenging Benoit for 3rd is Barnier. Williams is back to 5th, followed by Eddie LePan, Leo, and Mike Bushy. Jeff Plunkett going a lap down to the leader. Tyson Brown started to catch Gary as Gary caught the slower 07 on a turn, which forced him to lift a little bit. That allowed Brown to catch him. But now Brown catches Plunkett on a turn, so maybe they will even out. They do indeed. It's back to about 10 car lengths, the advantage. 3 to go this time by. Third is Barnier, fourth Benoit, fifth Williams, sixth is Eddie. Battle for seventh is between LeMay and Leon. We had the early caution, but everything has been green flag since then. 2 to go. Whoa, coming out of fourth, Barnier. I told you he's been riding the high group. He came out of fourth, tagged the wall. He's still running third, but he has Benoit all over his back bumper now. Oh, Gary Wood negotiating slower lap traffic, leading with them to stay out of the way. Andy Haywood pulled way to the high side, lets all the leaders by. We are on the last lap. Gary Wood puts a lap of the 08 at Sorrell. Don't know if he will catch a 20th Sinclair or not. The battle for second is 4 cars. Brown, Williams, Barnier, and Benoit. Going into fourth, Benoit gets into Barnier. Barnier taps Williams. Williams continues. Benoit on the infield. Barnier is out of it. Checker flag for the 53 of Gary Wood. Mark Barnier had a third or fourth wrapped up, and he will finish, my lord, about 18th or 19th. Tragedy for Barnier in the last turn. Comes together with Benoit. I am sure he is not happy about that situation. Let's give the top 5, although they have not scratched Barnier's number from the top 5 yet. Fourth, I believe it's Benoit. Third, Williams. Second, hey, a great run for Tyson Drown. Getting married helps. Tyson got married, well, really just a few hours ago. He comes home with second. It's probably his best finish of the year. I don't remember him finishing second before, but he may have. But picking up another victory. This guy is starting to collect a few of them. Driving the Reroute Placement Speedy Shack 53 machine out of Peru, New York. Gary Wood. I'll tell you what, that Adirondack Security Systems Monte Carlo, really the second half of the year has been one of the strongest cars, and I know you were catching a lot of action. It was a lot to catch, Calvin, but that 53 car has been one of our strongest cars, and once he got the lead, there was nothing going to catch him tonight.
That's one of the problems, of course, when the lead car is ahead of everybody else. You aren't always sure where the camera should be, because obviously the leader deserves some camera time, but sometimes the big race is for second, third, or fourth, fifth, or whatever.
Well, Gary came in tonight 11th in points. He was about 18 points behind Mark Lamberton. Of course, Mark not here. And Gary, now in 14 starts, has won 3 of them. So pretty good winning percentage for the guy in that 53 machine. As Gary Wood pockets another one. He is the winner for the main event. Tyson Drown second.
I think he's honeymooning right now down there.
Well, that's Tyson, the guy in the green car
That's right, Tyson
honeymooning.
Brown. He's honeymooning.
And our points leader, Eric Williams, he has to settle for third. Danny Benoit fourth, and the scoreboard still has Barnier fifth, but by the time the 5th place car crossed the line, he was still stuck up in turn 4.
I got a question for you. Now, will you bet race if you get married today? Will you run tonight, Tyson, to finish second to the 53 cars off the top? Oh, yeah. So where are you going to celebrate the honeymoon? All right, let's hear it for Tyson Brown. Great second place finish tonight. And you're welcome to the community. I'd like to thank Dooley, Bryan, Chevrolet, and all the staff and employees for the special thanks going out to the organizer, John Waddy.
The Corvette Club.
We'll tell you about some of these Corvettes as they come around.
Bill McBride, the sponsor of tonight's evening. We have members of the Bill McBride Corvette Club out here, or North Country Corvette Club, or whatever it's called. Rick Knowles is down there telling the crowd all about it. Rick Knowles, of course, started MotorSports Magazine program several years ago. Now it's been taken over by his partner, Steve Hayes, his former partner, probably I should say, and his brother, Rob Knowles. Rick is now the track announcer here at Airborne.
1985 Corvette. Owner Jim Judkins. He leads the back. Second car is 1980 Midnight Express, 34,000 miles, owned by Mel Frechette. Rod Rabbit owns the third car in line. He's from West Chase, New York. 1978 Corvette, 25th anniversary of the production of the Chevrolet Corvette. Fourth car in line is 1977 Corvette, all original, unrestored. Color is Corvette orange, which was the poster color for that year, a one-year color. Car is owned by Pete and Mary Corral from Peru, New York. Fifth car in line, a 1977 Corvette, owned by Abe and Don LeBaire. Car show winner of trophies and plaques from the local car shows. He wants to thank the Corvette fans and Bill McBride, Chevrolet, and the North Country Corvette Club. Sixth car in line, a red 1976 Stingray T-top, L48 350 cubic inch. Production of 46,558. Base price of $76.05. Gene Bushy from Ellenberg Depot, the owner. Seventh car in line, 1974 red Corvette 350 engine, owned by Jim and Diana Meister. Eighth car in line, a 1971 34,000 original miles. All original. It was the first Corvette sold by Bill McBride Chevrolet, and Dave Favreau is the owner. The ninth car in line by Bill McBride Chevrolet base car. Original owner sold in 1977. Repurchased in April of 1993 by Mike and Sue Lawson. 10th car line is a 1968 Corvette convertible owned by Don Favreau. 36,000 original miles. The 11th car line, she says this is the only real Corvette out there. A 66 maroon big block 427 owned by Dave and Julie Davidson. Vehicle was purchased new in Lake Placid by a female school teacher in Saranac Lake and stayed in that area until 1980. Well, the owner at that time dragged it out of the barn and said, I'm selling it for $3,500. We will buy a new kind of motorcycle. When you buy a motorcycle, instead of a Corvette,
If you're waiting for them to race, keep on waiting because they're not about to do that with these classics.
time for the 30-lap main event for the late model Sportsman tonight. 24 machines will answer the call. 2 automobiles not able to make the call I am aware of. The 36 of Scotty Carpenter, but he will get points for this race. I'll explain in a moment. And of course the 79 of Galen Wood, my guest earlier. Boy, I feel sorry about jinxing him. I saw Galen during the intermission. He is A-okay. He'll be sore in the morning. How hard did he hit? Well, if you're familiar with where an air cleaner is on these automobiles, it's located on top of the engine right in the center. He broke the air cleaner off. That's a hard hit, fans. Taking a look at the lineup. Starting out on the pole, and he is praying he'll finish there and pick up a triple crown. The 61 of Robin Wood. Joining him in the number 6, rookie Rod Weed. Row 2 to the inside, the orange 19 of Dave Gain on the outside. Another local guy, the 83 machine. Todd's Glass sponsorship on that car, Tim Patinka. Row 3 to the inside. Egglefield Ford, Meineke sponsored 11 of Ron Lamell Jr. and the 42 of Tony Poisson. In row 4, the 17 of Lonnie Lackley, the 55 of rookie Gordon Adams. Row 5, the 50 of Stormin Norman Gay and the 48 of Glenn Wright. Next in line, we find the 63 of Bucko Branham. He could use a victory. The 76 of Steve Renadette. Then he won his qualifier earlier. Looked pretty good in that semi-feature. The 9 of Danny Bridges. To his right, the 40... No, it's not him. It's the 66 of Joe Thomas. Almost gave Doug Horse spot there. Joe Thomas outside Bridges. Dropping back another row, the 91 of Wild Bill found the 75 of Perfecto, who, remember, still feeling a bit under the weather. Then the 35 of Ron Weston, the 0 of Brent Dragon. Then the family connection, the 45 of Brian Hoare to the inside, his dad Doug to the high groove. The 25 of points leader Dave Wickham. The 21 of Richard Bootsy. Still unusual not seeing him in a 13. Shotgun right now, the 7 of Gary Godin. But actually shotgun when he pulls out of the infield pits will be the 97 of Dave Gibbs. Now I said Carpenter's going to get some points. Well, here's how. Carpenter started the car just now, pitted it, Dave Gibbs jumped into it. So Dave will run the race, but wherever he finishes, Carpenter gets the points. And let's remember, Scott Carpenter, our defending champ, is in a points battle right now, cannot afford to miss the race with so few left. So Carpenter gets a break even though the car itself broke. Front row, Robin Wood looking for the Triple Crown, the 6 of Rod Weed. They will set the 24 machines on their way. Where's Carpenter? 3rd in points, only 20 behind Brent Dragon. Off the lane. Tried to get a jump on pole sitter Robin Wood, not able to do so. Robin Wood, as he has all night, leading the pack. Weed tucked into 2nd. Dave Gay 3rd, Lamell 4th. Patinka going backwards as he is 5th, stuck on the outside. 3 wide, 2, 3, 3, coming out of 4th. Everybody going straight. And all 24 survived the first of 30 laps. Coming in, Wickham, the points leader. Brent Dragon side by side. Scott Carpenter. He's hoping Dave Gibbs has a phenomenal run from the back of the pack so he can get a bunch of points. 3 down, 7 to go. Trying to find a way to the inside. Robin Wood puts a little distance between himself and Rod Weed. Still Robin Wood. He'll come by to complete lap number 5 of the 30. He now has a 10. Dave Gay, Ron Lamell, and Glenn Wright. A lot of the quicker automobiles are stuck in traffic and really are having a whole lot of trouble trying to work past some of the other automobiles. Trouble at 3, Norm Gay, Lonnie Lackley come together. Danny Bridges avoids them. Everybody avoids the 2 spinning automobiles. Lackley continues. Norm Gay still pointing the wrong way. That will bring out the first caution. It will bunch up the field and everyone will have another shot at Robin Wood, but After the first 5 laps, he is certainly looking awful strong to win that Triple Crown.
Steve Hayes, they'd have to pay me a bunch of money to become a flagman here.
Well, you know, after a while you get kind of used to it down there. It's really scary though when you're standing there and someone comes barreling out of 4 and doesn't realize you're down there or loses their brakes. That's when you really start to worry.
I think the track announcer should be down on the infield down there at all times.
Actually, back in the days of dirt when Rick and I split the announcing duties, we had a system where he was up in the tower. I used to have a remote mic on the infield. Let me tell you, even on the infield, away from the track surface, it gets pretty hairy when cars come screaming at you. Going green next time by. All 24 starters remain running. Norm Gay is at the back of the pack, however. Front row, Robin Wood, Rod Weed. Row 2, Dave Gay, Ron Lamel. And out of our top 2 rows, there are only 2 top 5 finishes this year among them. One by Lamel and one by our current leader and Triple Crown hopeful, Robin Wood. So obviously those guys in those first 2 rows would love to finish as far up as they're running right now. Front part of the pack moving well. The back pack not exactly the best of order. Green flag behind. Out front, Robin Wood picks up where he left off, leads them all. Dave Gay slips into second. Rod Weed is in no man's land, namely the outside groove. Lamel will get under him. Glenn Wright will have a shot. And left green line inside position. He's liable to lose a whole bunch of positions here. Trouble on the 83 Patinka. Tim pits the automobile. One car that is moving, and it's on the outside, believe it or not. Rod Weed gets loose. It's right in front of Bridges. Bridges forced to lift. Rod Weed keeps it going, though. Now Weed comes to the inside of Bell. They come together. Robin Wood leading along. Second is currently Dave Gay with Ron Lamella, his back bumper. And Glenn Wright also in pursuit. Then a break of some 7 or 8 automobiles to Tony Poisson, who had the on the buckle Brenner, Bill Bell. Coming again. I may be wrong, but I don't think Robin Wood has run second in a lap. He started to pull in his qualifier semi. I believe that both green to checker. Rookie doing very well tonight. Second in rookie points. Davil, he'll catch the 35 of Wesson, who leads the rookie points, and Ron is 5th overall in the points. And the guy who was kind of the rookie battle, of course, did not make this main event. Laps are starting to dwindle down. There will be 13 in the books and 17 remaining. Remember, earlier this year, Robin Wood led over 30 laps. Got in contact with another automobile and took him out of his first career late model victory. If he should pick that first one up tonight, it would be a Triple Crown. It would be a welcome relief for that team that has suffered a lot of misfortune this year with that automobile. Lamel moves into second. Lamel, a former Busch Grand National North campaigner. Glenn Wright season. He has moved into third. Dave Gay back to fourth. Fifth and Tony Quattro. He has just gone all over the back for out number 42. Well, we're past the halfway. 16 laps done, been run. 14 remaining. Robin Wood, perhaps, challenge right now in the form of Ronald L. right. Trouble on the 45. Brian Horace off the pace. Don't know if he's going to pit the auto. He stays up to 45 and definitely going slower than we are accustomed to. That gas dies, no doubt about it. We will set the field next time by with 18 down, 12 to go. They're basically single file, and this is the way they run. Robinwood, Lavelle, right, David Gay, Poisson, Bridges, Bell, Branham, and the 76. Lavelle makes a challenge to the outside. Not able to make the move on the leader yet. Glenn Wright not able to move the leader's back bumper to block the group. Now Lavelle pulls even. And Robin Wood turns back the challenge. Chief starter like Wilder will give him 10 to go next time by. Brian Hork out the passer lag. That's something just 10 to go. Robin Wood, heavy duty battle with Lamell. Glenn Wright slips under the Lamell 11. Wright moves into second, but Lamell has the open track in the second group. Dave Gay still fourth, Tony Poisson fifth, with Bridges and Bill Fountain right behind him. So the Children's Miracle Network 48 clears the Meineke 11. Well, they're both chasing that 61 machine, and so far tonight, nobody has gone past that car. Right up to the back of Robin Wood. Now Lamell goes to the inside of Wright to return the favor. Glenn Wright used an inside move to take second from Lamell. Lamell's going to return the favor coming out of 4, or at least try to. And with these two guys traveling 2 wide per second, the cars behind him will have a lot of trouble trying to catch up to Robin Wood. David Gay gets to the inside quarter panel of Glenn Wright. That's a battle for third. Behind that battle, Danny Bridget, Tony Poisson, and Billy Fountain. Trouble up in 2. The leaders will come up on it. We have 4 automobiles involved. Lonnie Lackley, Gordon Adams, Rod Weed, and another red automobile, which I cannot see because the 6 is hooked to it. But looking real quick, I don't see the 66 of Joe Thomas. Oh, and it's the 50 of Norm Gay, and he's setting up fire signals. Norm Gay, the exhaust fumes catch on fire, and they will quickly extinguish himself. So I still don't see the 66 of Thomas. He must have pitted or fell out when I didn't realize it. Okay, yeah, he's on the backstretch. He was stuck in some traffic, but the 50 of Norm Gay apparently suffering some damage, Calvin, and that must be a scary situation when you're a race leader. Go over a Triple Crown, and the track up in turn 2 is not exactly open for you.
Got some damage on his other automobile up here too, Steve.
And it looks like the 55 of Gordon Adams. Severe front end damage. And I think Gordon's night has come to an end. Adams, who did not start the season here, was a late arrival as a rookie. Starting to make his name known as he's had some good runs here. Unfortunately, this one comes to a bit of a premature ending tonight.
And of course, camera wasn't on that accident. We were following that very close race for first place.
And it was a good one. Once again, we'll name the players and say, hey, why don't you pick a winner with 24 down, 6 to go? Leading them all like he has all night long in the 61. The Macy sponsored 61 of Robin Wood. The Children's Miracle Network 48 of Glenn Wright will be outside, and that's not where he wants to be. Right behind the leader will be that 11 machine of Ron Lamell Jr. And I have a feeling Lamell may have a little bit left for Robin Wood. We'll have to wait and see if the Sousa Racing 4 Thunderbird can get the job done. Outside row 2, Dave Gay, he has a great run going. Then will be Tony Poisson, Danny Bridges, Billy Fountain, and Steve Renadet.
The way those first 4 were running, Steve, one little mistake and you could go from first to fourth in a big hurry.
Well, that is generally the case in this division. You make one slip up, especially if you go to the outside groove, the whole train moves under you. And I'll tell you, Robin Wood is thinking about that. But there is an advantage. With so few laps left and a restart coming up, he should not have to deal with lap traffic. And that is a big advantage for the rookie behind that 61. Getting set for a 7-lap dash for cash. They'll wind the lap counter back one more. 23 down, 7 to go. Front row, Robin Wood, Glenn Wright. Row 2, Lamel and Dave Gay. Row 3, Poisson Bridges. In the 4th row, Fountain Renadet. And rounding out the top 10, Bucko Brannaman, Pete Fecto. 18 of the original 24 remain running. And Glenn Wright with a scratch at Robin Wood with a nice jump out of 4. Even into 1. Now Robin Wood, they run through the scene of the incident. Still some speedy dry down and went a little extra cautious. Heavy duty bumper bag at the back of the pack. Sparks go flying from a couple of the cars contact. Robin Wood leads it. Good battle for second between Lamel and Glenn Wright. Something breaks on the Renadet 76. He slides right in front of a big pack of automobiles. Nobody else involved, but the yellow will come out for the 76. Reddit is very lucky that he did not get rear-ended when he slid it up in front of a lot of the cars and contacted the back of the pack, Lonnie Lackley in the back end of Gary Godin's number 7. So we will line him up and try it again. And for what we saw in that last restart, you have to figure, unless he makes a mental error, Robin Wood will have the lead. But will Glenn Wright or Ron Lamel have something left for him in the last couple of laps?
Yeah, he can go no doubt about that.
Safety crews pick up the brain in turn 1. And it should be 2 laps longer before that straight.
They're about to restart, Steve, and I'm a little surprised that Ronnie Lackley, number 17, isn't being asked to head for the pits.
Well, the sheet metal is not dragging. It is still secured to the automobile, but he was going to start dead last. No reason not to pit the car, have the crew take it off, and maybe survey the damage. You don't know if there's some bend in there that he's not aware of. We will never know unless, of course, he suffers a problem now in the restart. And for this restart with 24 down, 6 to go, it will still be Robin Wood and Glenn Wright. We'll go at least one more before we let him loose. Row 2, Ron Lamel Jr. and David Gay. In row 3, Danny Bridges, Tony Poisson. Row 4, the Billy and Bucko show, found in the inside, Branham on the high groove. And Pete Fecto, Brett Dragon, round out the top 10 for the upcoming restart. Next week, a regular show for our 3 divisions, also our final Saturday night regular show of the year. And I'll tell you what, all the kids out there, listen close. Get your parents here early. Tricycle Triathlon night for our final Saturday night show. Why don't you come out, win a qualifier, and maybe challenge your favorite driver on a tricycle. And believe me, I know some of the drivers, seeing them on tricycles, I would love it. Robin Wood, Glenn Wright in row 1, both looking for their first late model Sportsman victory of the year. Row 2, Lamel and David Gay. Row 3, Bridges and Pete Fecto. 4 is Fountain, Branham. 5th row, Fecto, Dragon. You know, Brent Dragon's not making up a whole bunch of points. The guy he's chasing in the points battle is inside the next row. Out of 4, Wood and Glenn Wright side into turn 1. Lamel trying to get the advantage of the inside group to take second from the 48 machine of Glenn Wright. Not able to do so. Bridges 4th. Billy found up to 5th. David Gay stuck on the high side and go nowheres but backwards. 5 laps to go. She's on the right wild leading as they go by. Say, hey guys, only 5 more times. Steve Reddit rejoins 1 lap down as he comes on the backstretch. Ron Lamel puts the left wheels in the dirt, kicks up a dust storm, but keeps the car going in the battle for second. Not a big margin, about 3 or 4 car lengths. But now down the backstretch, Glenn Wright simply eats it up. Going in the turn, Wood again trying to get a car length to 2 advantage. 3 laps to go. David Gay gets stuck on the outside of the second row for the restart. Unfortunately for that guy, he's had a strong car. He has fallen all the way back to 9th. And it's not because of lack of talent. He just is stuck on the outside. 2 to go. 1 more mile remaining in the race. The LMS division. Glenn Wright, oh my! Robin Wood pops the engine. Robin Wood hand grenades the power plant on the 61. Trouble contact up at the turn. Tony Poisson gets a feature. Glenn Wright must think it's Christmas. He'll go in and look at the calendar and say, I swear it's December 25th. He hasn't won it, but I'll tell you what, Ron Lamel's the only guy who can take it from him. Heartbreak for Robin Wood, the second time he was en route to win and fell out with a couple to go. A quarter of a car length, the margin of victory. The Children's Miracle Network sponsor, 48 at Glenn Wright, also has some Renorex sponsorship, why not, a la Robbie Crouch. Glenn Wright picks up his first career late model sportsman victory, but it was on the demise of Robin Wood's 61. Second to Lamel, who, oh, so close out of that latcher. 1 more lap, Lamel may have won it in the Meineke car. 3rd to Bridges, 4th to Billy Fountain, 5th to Buck O'Brien, but Calvin, you've seen just about everything here tonight filming. Robin Wood had not been second the entire night. Led green to checker in the qualifier, in the semi. Led the first 28 laps, was en route to a triple crown, and the engine goes sour with less than a mile to go.
After all those restarts, he kept hanging on to first place, and then to have that happen so close to the end is going to be a bitter disappointment for him.
I'll tell you, there was no indication. I was watching that lead battle almost the entire race. I never saw a puff of smoke. When that engine went, it went in a hurry. Robin out of the car looking it over saying, I can't believe my luck. I'll tell you, the way he's run, it's just a matter of time, and hopefully with just a couple of races left, he can still pick up that first win of the year.
I tell you, those restarts can be deadly, Steve. I was watching Norman Gay out there, and he, of course, been starting 4th on those restarts, and he went from 4th to about 8th or 9th in a hurry because he was on that outside groove.
Yeah, Dave Gay, who did not start the year here, but he came about a month ago. He showed up with the orange number 19. He had a good car under him, but as I said, he didn't fall back because of his driving talent. He fell back because he was the unfortunate victim of starting in the second groove for the restarts. Glenn Wright very happy getting out of the car, and why not, as he, boy, he really inherited a victory here, I'll tell you. Glenn Wright, who was probably going to finish second, 3rd at worst the way they were running, gets the win on the misfortunes of Robin Wood, but I'll tell you, he almost didn't win it. The NASCAR North veteran, Ron Lamel Jr., stuck to the inside coming out of 4 and a quarter of a car length, the margin of victory.
Almost a photo finish, Steve.
Gonna be back if you want to hear the hope. Oh yeah, very good. All right, let's wait for Galen Wood. It's a great third place run tonight.
Last event of the evening, and we're going to do it like we started it. see, we started with a 15-lap main event for the street stocks. We're going to end with a 15-lap main event for the street stocks. 23 of these guys set to take the green. Front row, the 35 of Brian Reel, the 39 of Sonny Reeves. In row 2, the 11 of Jim Varno, and the 43 of Ken Misek. Row 3 occupied by Andrew Carey and Chuck Farnsworth. In row 4, we find the 01 of Keith Nolan, the 37 of Dave Parrott. Next in the 5th, the 28 of Skip Liberty, and the 71 of Tony Broussard. Corey Trombley, Rick Preston, followed by, they're all out of order, Kurt LaGrave, Danny Gibbs, then the 2 of Leo Duggan, the 60 of Terry Gunnop, 84 Rick Wells, the 29 of points leader coming in Brian Pugh, 81 Bob Wells, 91 Sean Fountain, the 85 of Jimmy Collins, the 23 of Joe Becker, and shotgun to the 69 of Jace Ashline. 23 set to do battle for 15 laps. And after what we have seen in late model and Flying Tiger action tonight, you somehow have to figure we are going to be in for a wild one here. And all these people who left early to get out of the track early, they may be very sorry they missed this one. Real and Reeves will lead them to the stripe. But with the street stocks, there's no guarantee that one of the front row cars will hit it first. These guys really come wild out of 4, and it usually is pretty spectacular, their starts and restarts.
The makeup feature we saw again this evening certainly had its exciting moments in the early going.
First couple of laps looked like we would eliminate about half of these cars that are starting this main event. Here they come out of 4, ready, raring, willing, and able. Contact going down the front stretch, but everybody keeps them heading straight. Misek going way wide with the 43. And as they come storming out of 2, pole sitter Real leads the other 22 automobiles. Now Varno pulls alongside. Into 3, Farnsworth sideways, straightens it out. Oh my, Sonny Reeves in the middle of the groove with a 39. Everybody avoids, but going through the turn was very slow. I thought for sure someone would collect them. Up front, Varno takes the lead. Real drop kick back to second. Andrew Carey third with a 99. Then Nolan and Farnsworth. Though Farnsworth doesn't have 5th yet as Parrott pushes by on the inside. Tires squealing coming out of 4. As far as the point, oh, trouble up in 2. Terry Gunnop turning Rick Wells all the way around. A 360 and then continuing on. Well, back a few years ago in the Indy 500, Danny Sullivan did the infamous spin and win. I don't know if Rick Wells will pull it off here tonight. 3 wide heading into 1. Varno, your leader. Andrew Carey gets to the inside. He will take the top spot down the backstretch. Behind him, Farnsworth, Dan Gibbs. And Dan Gibbs, who came in tonight 6 points behind Brian Pugh, gets into 3rd. Brian Pugh currently running 9th. Next time by, there will be 5 in the books with 10 to go. Nothing settled yet. A whole lot of racing yet to be determined. Andrew Carey is leading them all. Jim Varno runs second, but Dan Gibbs about ready to put a move on him for that turnaround spot. Trouble on Farnsworth. The tire flies off the automobile, hits the outside retaining wall. The 75 of Farnsworth has 3 wheels, and there is nobody going to be able to do much with that situation. So the caution will come out. Tough break for Farnsworth. Ever since he won a main event about a month ago, his luck has been all bad. Getting set to get it all back underway with 5 down and 10 to go. The 71 of Broussard in that caution period pitted the automobile, and we haven't seen a sign of him since. Don't know what was wrong with Broussard's 71. Nothing wrong with these guys up front. Your leader, the 99 of Andrew Carey, and parked to his right side, the 11 of Jim Varno. Row 2, Danny Gibbs and Keith Nolan. Row 3, Brian Pugh, Corey Trombley. So Brian Pugh is lined up directly behind the guy chasing him in the points battle. Green flag is waving, and we are back underway. Barno tries to get a jump on the leader. They head into one in a tight bunch. Barno loses second to Gibbs, and here comes Dan Gibbs. He hooks himself to the bumper of the leader. Brian Pugh trying to follow through the same hole. Sean Fountain coming behind Brian Pugh. Keep an eye on the 91 of Fountain. Up front is a drag race in the top spot. The 99 to carry the 92 of Dan Gibbs. One car that did not answer the call is Dan's brother, Jason Gibbs. Jason had the purple 97 here. And that automobile and driver combination leads this division, the street stocks, at the Thunder Road Speedball. So he's sitting on top of the T-Road points. A very rare competitor here, however, only his second or third appearance tonight. Dan Gibbs is your leader. Andrew Carey is second. Behind him, Brian Pugh, followed by Sean Fountain, Corey Trombley. Then Skip Liberty and Terry Gunnup. Earlier tonight, Liberty picked up a qualifying victory. He's had a good night already. 8 down, 7 to go. Up in 4, the 81 of Bob Wells has spun his automobile. No caution yet. Dan Gibbs starting to open up a gap now. About a dozen car lengths between himself and the second place Andrew Carey. Brian Pugh looks to the outside group in the battle for second. But Sean Fountain gets to the inside of Brian Pugh. Brian Pugh goes from the pursuer to the pursuee. Cuts back down in front of the Fountain 91, but realizes that Sean is certainly going to take the position. Well, caution. Caution comes out. They do decide the 81 of Bob Wells may not be in a safe spot. So Dan Gibbs did not want it, but he's got it. And on the restart, he's going to have something else. The points leader directly on his back bumper. Getting set for the final 6 laps of the final event of the evening, the street stock main event. Dan Gibbs, Andrew Carey, row 1, Brian Pugh and Sean Fountain, row 3. Corey Trombley, Skip Liberty in row 3. Understand during that caution period, found out that Rick and Bob Wells switched automobiles. You may remember Bob Wells, number 81, finished third in the first feature, overheated. So Bob and Rick switched, so it was Rick Wells who took the 81 out of contention. Bob Wells currently is sitting inside row 5 with the 84. Dan Gibbs, no surprise here, gets the point, takes the lead. Brian Pugh follows him through. Sean Fountain right behind. Andrew Carey is going to go from 2nd to 4th. There will be 5 to go next time by. And big trouble in 3. Keith Nolan and Rick Preston come together. Everything is back in order, however. Another automobile not in this field. I believe we saw him walking in front of the stands where the late model feature was getting ready to start. The 77 of Rick Frenier. I have no idea why Frenier is not out there. Probably some problems with the automobile, but that takes out another big contender. Oh my, Joe Becker, something happened to the automobile, smoke from underneath the car, slowed down, got in contact with Dave Parent, a reverse spin up in 1. Nice piece of driving by Joe Becker. If he's auditioning for the Joy Tube Thrill Show, though, he missed it by a little few weeks. There will be 2 to go the next time by. Dan Gibbs has about 8 car lengths on Brian Pugh. Brian has about a dozen on Sean Fountain. In other words, first and second are pretty much established as we start the final 2. Gibbs, Brian Pugh securely their positions, but Sean Fountain not quite as confident as he runs 3rd. Terry Gunnup is right behind him, and Bob Wells is moving the 84 in contention now. White flag for the 92 with his brother and his dad both in attendance. Dan hoping to pick up another feature victory here tonight. Into 3 out of 4. Chalk up victory number 3 on the season for Dan Gibbs. His hand outside the window, waving to the fans. Gibbs wins it over Brian Pugh, Sean Fountain, Terry Quinnip, and Bob Wells. And after coming in 6 points behind Brian Pugh and not doing as well as Brian earlier tonight, he gets a little bit of a margin of revenge, but Brian was right behind him in second, so he didn't get a whole lot of points for the effort. But win number 3 in the season for the 92 of Dan Gibbs. Second is indeed the 29 of Brian Pugh. Third to Sean Fountain, fourth to Gunnup, and fifth to the 84 of Bob Wells. Well, once the top 2 got out there, Calvin, they pretty much established themselves as the 1-2 finishers. But behind it, battle for third on back, that was getting pretty good.
It's always a very interesting division right here, Steve.
So we will congratulate all of our winners tonight. Of course, the winner of the rained out street stock main event, the 75 of Chuck Farnsworth. In the Flying Tigers, the 53 of Gary Wood. Our late model Sportsman winner, the 48 of Glenn Wright. And our second street stock winner of the night in the 92 machine, Dan Gibbs. And that's going to wrap up coverage of tonight's action here at Airborne International Raceway. As I said, this weekend we were benefactors of being able to film 2 shows here at Airborne that you just saw. And Rob Knowles over in New Hampshire catching super modified action. You'll be seeing that next month here on most of these MSM stations. So some final thoughts, Calvin, as I once again thank Calvin Castine for joining me in handling the film work tonight. Very difficult to do both, I assure you. Well, what do you think about filming these guys? It got pretty interesting out there, didn't it?
A very interesting evening out here, Steve. And as I said earlier, there's not much time to rest out here because they come right back out, except for the intermission time. They're right back out here with the next race, and it keeps your interest.
They certainly do move the cart along in a hurry. That's going to do it. Hey, for Calvin Castine, Rob Knowles, and everyone else associated with MotorSports Magazine, I'm Steve Hayes, hoping that you'll have a great week, and we hope to see you here next week, Tricycle Triathlon night, and the final Saturday night show of the 94 season. Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you at the races.
Thank you very much, Warren Tire. Thanks, guys. Putting up with it. All right, boys, for there. Brian Hill.